The air in the undergut didn't just smell like ozone. It tasted like iron and stale adrenaline. Down here, beneath the 500-story spires of Neo-Viridia, the law of the Dominion was a fairy tale. The only law that mattered was the weight of your chrome and the speed of your synapses. This was the pit, a submerged circular arena where the walls were made of reinforced glass holding back the toxic black sludge of the city's sewers. Around the perimeter, 1,000 augmented spectators screamed for blood, their eyes glowing with the flickering light of holographic betting slips. They hadn't come for sport, they had come to see the limits of human biology pushed past the breaking point. They wanted to see what happens when a man decides to become a monster to survive. They thought the pit was just a meat grinder. They assumed that because we were illegal biohacks, we were nothing more than disposable assets. They believed that by pitting us against the Chimera units, monstrous fusions of predators and tanks, they were proving the superiority of their corporate laboratories. They were catastrophically wrong. They forgot that the most dangerous thing in the galaxy isn't a lab-grown beast. It's a human being with nothing left to lose and a nervous system overclocked by 300%. They thought the cage was for their amusement. They forgot that the cage was also a pressure cooker. We created the Flesh and Steel Protocol. And we birthed the pit stalkers. We don't use guns in the pit. The crowd wants to see the wet work. Instead, we use cortex enhancers and subdermal blades. Our armor isn't outside our skin. It's woven into our muscle fibers, strands of carbon nanotubes that turn our soft tissue into bulletproof mesh. Our primary weapons are retractable chrome claws, monomolecular edges that vibrate at a frequency capable of slicing through tank plating. We don't think in seconds, we think in milliseconds. We move in the blue zone, a state of accelerated perception where the world slows down to a crawl, allowing us to dodge blades and catch arrows mid-air. We are the biohackers and we're about to show the house that the odds are finally shifting. I am Ripper Vane. My internal HUD is currently flashing a bright, warnings-filled red, my core temperature is sitting at a dangerous 41 degrees, and my adrenaline reservoir is at critical levels. Opposite me stands the Chimera-09, 1,000 kilograms of muscle, chitin and bioorganic cannons. And I'm about to take its head. The gate slammed shut with a heavy hydraulic hiss. The crowd's roar reached a deafening pitch as the floodlights flickered on, turning the rain-slicked floor into a kaleidoscope of neon blue and pink. The Chimera didn't wait. It was a masterpiece of biological horror, four-armed, covered in obsidian-colored plates, and possessing a tail that ended in a poisoned bone stinger. It let out a subsonic growl that vibrated the glass walls of the arena. Engage the neurojack. Overclock the motor cortex. Give me everything. I whispered into the subvocal link. My vision blurred for a second, then snapped into the blue zone. The rain stopped in midair. Each droplet became a shimmering crystal hanging in the neon light. The Chimera's lunge, which would have been a blur to a normal man, was now a slow, graceful arc of muscle and teeth. I saw the tension in its rear legs, the way the bioluminescent veins on its neck flared red just before it leaped. Dodge right. Slice the tendon. I moved. To the crowd I was a flash of chrome. To me I was dancing through a forest of frozen water. I slid beneath the beast's primary claws, the heat from its body radiating against my face. As I passed, I triggered my right wrist blade. The 10-inch chrome spike hissed as it sliced through the Chimera's rear hamstring. A fountain of thick, neon-green blood sprayed across the floor, looking like glowing paint in the slow-motion light. The beast landed awkwardly, its leg buckling under its own weight. It roared, a sound that felt like a physical hammer against my eardrums even in the blue zone. He's angry. Now finish the armor. The Chimera pivoted with surprising speed for its size, its bone stinger tail whipping around like a scythe. I leaped, my hydraulic-assisted leg muscles propelling me 4 meters into the air. I looked down at the beast. It was already aiming its shoulder cannons. These weren't mechanical, they were bioorganic tubes that fired high-pressure bursts of acidic bile. THWIP. 2 globes of glowing green acid lanced toward me. In midair I had no leverage. I twisted my body, the arrow thrusters, in my heels letting out a microburst of compressed air. The acid missed my chest by centimeters, sizzling as it hit the floor and eating through the reinforced metal. I landed on the beast's back. Punched through. I drove both my chrome claws into the gaps between the obsidian plates on its shoulders. The resistance was immense. The chitin was thick and reinforced with calcium deposits. I felt my servos groan, the heat sinks on my forearms glowing white-hot as I forced the blades deeper. The Chimera bucked, trying to throw me off, its forearms reaching back to grab me. I gripped the beast with my legs and twisted the blades. The sound was a sickening crunch of bone and metal. The Chimera shrieked, its biocannons losing their aim and firing blindly into the glass walls. I saw the crack form in the obsidian plate. I didn't stop. I began to saw, my blades vibrating at 10,000 cycles per second. Warning, neural overheating. Shut down recommended, my internal AI flashed across my vision. Not yet. The Chimera slammed its back against the glass wall, trying to crush me. The impact was absolute. I felt two of my ribs snap, the carbon fiber mesh holding them together, but the pain was a distant, muted thing in the blue zone. I used the momentum to drive my blades even further into the beast's neck joint. We hit the floor again, tumbling through the neon-lit puddles. The Chimera was dying, but it was a predator designed to kill until its last heartbeat. It pinned me down with its massive upper arms, its jaws opening to reveal rows of needle-sharp teeth dripping with acid. I could smell the rot in its breath. Last chance. Feed the core. I opened the safety valves on my adrenaline pump. A surge of pure, synthetic fire flooded my veins. My vision didn't just turn blue, it turned white. The world didn't just slow down, it stopped. I grabbed the Chimera's lower jaw with my left hand, the acid burning through my subdermal plating. With my right hand I retracted the claw and formed a fist. I didn't just punch, I delivered a kinetic burst, a discharge of all the stored electrical energy in my suit's batteries focused into a single point. Karagoam. The explosion of energy was so intense it shattered the nearby holographic screens. The Chimera's head didn't just break, it was structurally unmade. The bioengineered brain matter was vaporized in a flash of blue light. The beast's massive body went limp, the obsidian plates clattering against the floor as it collapsed on top of me. The blue zone faded. The world rushed back in a violent wave of noise, heat, and agony. I lay there for a moment, pinned under the cooling weight of the monster, the neon rain washing the green blood off my face. The crowd was silent for a heartbeat, then they erupted into a roar that shook the very foundation of the undergut. They had seen their monster die. They had seen the biohacker win. I pushed myself out from under the beast, my armor hissing as the cooling fans fought to save my organs from the thermal overload. I stood up, my legs shaking, my chrome claws dripping with a mixture of green ichor and red human blood. I looked at the glass wall. The High Lords in the VIP booths were looking down at me, their faces unreadable behind their gold-plated masks. I didn't salute. I didn't celebrate. I simply spat a mouthful of blood onto the floor and retracted my blades. I walked toward the gate, the neon lights reflecting off the wet chrome of my skin. The pit was still there, the toxic water was still rising, and the city above was still a cold, digital nightmare. But for one night the meat had beaten the machine. The biohacker had survived the cull. The beast is cold. The chrome is red. The pit has seen its master.